this. Here we are.
Hello.
Third time.
Third time.
Third
time's
time's
a charm.
Third time's a charm. I was going to say the same thing.
Scooch over. Scooch over. You're kind of far over there.
I am Samantha Tunador, stylist with Stella and Dot, and
Yep.
you are?
I'm Barbara Ellis. I am also a stylist with Stella and Dot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got a little bit of experience.
A little bit, 8.5 years of experience. Been around block a few times.
Right.
Ain't my first rodeo.
Have
And
you-
all the other.
And we're here today. We're going to talk about social media.
Yes.
Were you a social media rock star queen 8.5 years ago?
No, I look back on some of those posts from my memories, and the photos you can barely see. They're super dark and rainy, and captions are terrible. And it was, everybody was just really trying to find their way with social media back then.
Right. If you find a social media expert you like, you should just scroll back to her early photos, or his, right? Or their early content, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. I know mine, like yours, I think I'm at like 6,000 or 7,000 posts. Like they've gotten better with time.
Yeah.
There's some I've considered deleting, but you really can't because it's part of that story. But we had a conversation even recently about when was your first selfie? 2016 is when selfie became a normal word. 3 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like should have been a lot longer.
Yeah. So selfies, and we're not necessarily comfortable doing it. We get better at it. We find tools to do it. So we're going to talk today a little bit about building your social media presence and some top tips that are relevant maybe today, maybe already outdated, but what we're doing that's working for us within our Stella and Dot business that would hopefully work for you, whether it's Stella and Dot or honestly really any company, any business, right, that you're looking to grow a social media presence. So we connected actually on Facebook.
We did. We connected via social media.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a dating app.
It is. And when's our anniversary?
January 31st, our Stellanniversary. So I'll share a little bit about that story, but I actually found Stella and Dot because of Facebook. I had connected with a friend, 40th birthday party. We'd become Facebook friends, and at the time there was it would tell you who became friends with who or what fan of what company, and there were little boxes type thing. And so we were Facebook friends, and I saw that she became a fan of Stella and Dot and had these cute little enamel bracelets and rings in the photo. And I was like, ooh, what is that? Click on, okay, I'm gonna become a fan. She caught that. She was aware of my social media presence there. She messaged me, do you know what Stella and Dot is? And I was like, no, but I know it has a cute photo and I know you're a fan. She's like, we're doing a trunk show for you. Trunk show.
Trunk
That's
show
what we called
is
it then,
called.
not style session. And I was like, okay, and I had a show. It was not great, but I had a show. And I don't even think she knew what she was doing, but she just gave me some jewelry. So that, or maybe it was the rewards. I didn't know what was going on, but I was thrilled with my little yellow enamel ring and my
Did we know
love
what we were doing
necklace.
10 years ago? No.
It was a love script necklace back then
Yeah.
that caught my attention. So I became a fan of Stella and Dot because of social media and a connection I had there who was thoughtful enough to reach out to me and ask me what I knew and share it further, offer me the next offer. She probably said to me 9 times after that, you should become a rep. And I just laughed at her and her little, Mickey Mouse business. I didn't think it was for me. Can I tell you? I'm so thankful she persisted because I wouldn't be here today, almost 9.5 years later with my Stella and Dot business had she not been persistent. So, oh my gosh, touch people, follow up with people, keep going, buy or die. So I also met you, as we said earlier, I met you on Facebook, and it was similar where someone had become a fan of the stylish chick. And when I clicked through, I found that it linked through to a blog you were writing. So do you want to tell me a little bit about that? So blogging's been around 9-10 years.
Yeah, blogging has been around 9 or 10 years, at least. And I was writing a style blog and just kind of showcasing everyday fashion things that I was wearing. And I get this message one day.
Well, your bio.
My bio.
Told me what she was doing.
I had a bio, and I think it said something along the lines of like I was a martini sipper and a shoe addict and things like that, and I loved jewelry. But
I cruised the page and saw no jewelry. I'm like, how's this girl making any money? Like, what is she doing on this blog? Why is she doing it? So I was curious, but I reached out with, hey, do you have a Stella and Dot stylist? I'd love to be your go-to person. Do you know anything about the line?
And she also said, I want to do a giveaway with you.
Oh. Did we ever do that giveaway?
No. We never did the giveaway.
I say things all the time that I don't follow through with. You have to hold me accountable.
But I was like, Stella Dot. Yes, I had seen the same Facebook ads. I had clicked through. I knew nobody who sold it. I thought the jewelry was very cute. And I had a ton of jewelry already. My grandmother was a fashionista who had handed down a lot of
She had her own retail store.
She had her own retail store and had a lot of really fantastic jewelry that I still have to this day. But I responded to your message and said, here's my phone number, call me. And she called me the next day. She did follow up.
I responded to the text with, where's your number? I don't want to call you too early.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, I'm in Ashburn, Virginia. And it was like, oh my gosh, she's in Leesburg. We're 15 minutes apart. So we got together for coffee a couple days later, and I'm thinking giveaway, and she's thinking, I don't know what she's thinking, but I walk into Starbucks. It's pouring snow outside.
Pouring snow. It was a wet snow.
It was a wet snow. It was disgusting, but we both I kept thinking she was going to cancel on me.
I kept thinking you were going to cancel on me.
She probably thought the same thing, and we sat down, and she had this portfolio of jewelry, and I could not look her in the eye because she kept pulling up this necklace. What do you think of this necklace? What do you think of these earrings? And I was like, ooh, gimme, 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 gimme.
Honestly, I was judging her. She had really cute jewelry on, and I thought she's not even going to like this stuff.
Yeah. So we talked about my blog, and at the time it was not making me any money, and I had a very stressful job where I was traveling constantly around the country. I was a retail fixer. So if any of you want to know more about that, it's a sad, sad story. I won't get into it here, but it's a terrible, dreadful, awful, god-awful job. And she sent me home with a lookbook and a stylist guide and asked me the question, is your blog making you money? How do you monetize it? And it really sunk into my head of, wow, what am I doing to monetize my blog? Really nothing. And
so it was a hobby. It was a way of sharing your interests, like a journal.
Yeah. I wish I had stuck with my blog now, because now 10 years of experience would have netted me a lot more. But I about 2 weeks later, I signed up with Stella & Dot. They were, it was the last day of the month, and I was like, I'm in. My husband was not in with me, but I said, I don't really care. I called my sister and I said, have you heard of Stella & Dot? And she said, no. And I said, great, you're hosting a trunk show for me. And or I was in Oklahoma at the time.
It was snowing in Oklahoma.
It was snowing in Oklahoma. Couldn't get home. I was snowed into my hotel room, which is one of the reasons why I signed up. I had to get back to Virginia because I was going on a flight back to California to visit my family. I ordered my jewelry and my lookbooks and suddenly realized none of it's going to arrive in time. I popped over to her house and she hands me a baggie full of jewelry. Doesn't know me.
Pretty much the same one that I brought to the coffee shop.
Yeah, hands me a baggie full of jewelry and a couple of lookbooks. I hop on a flight, go to California. I spread everything out on my sister's kitchen counter. I didn't have trays. I didn't have display. I had nothing. I opened up catalogs to pages of charm collections and other things. And I sold about $1,500 at that very first trunk show. And I remember with like 10 pieces of jewelry. And I remember she called me and she said, how was it? And I had no gauge. And for what a good trunk show was. And I said,
my first show was 300.
And I said, I sold 1,500. And she got quiet for a second. And I was like, that's not very good, is it? And she starts laughing and she goes, do you realize you just made $375 in the last 2 hours? And that's when I realized,
yeah, it was worth it.
That was totally worth it.
Paid for my flight.
Totally paid for my flight. But so that's how we got started. And it started with social media. And
right. But it was connection and relationship building there also, right? Yes. Had I not already known and liked the person I clicked through because of, had I not reached out to you and communicated and followed up and become trustworthy, etc., it's still that relationship and that connection, right? So when people, so there's a couple of things. I mean, we're going to go back to that connection and relationship a lot in any conversation, but your audience is the people that are in front of you. Mm-hmm. And you happen to be my audience that day. I happen to see like a hook, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, here's a worm. See if it works, right? So I do think when you are looking at where's your audience, where are the people you know? If you're not on social media at all, you can still build this business because this type of business, any business, has been built very successfully without social media, right? With determination. So I feel like if you have all your connections on text, that's where you communicate with your circle. If all your connections are at a bus stop, that's where you communicate with your circle in a way you would normally do it. So I always think of social media as you want to build where you are, right? Where is your community? For me at the time, it was Facebook. I don't think there wasn't, I'm sure Pinterest and Instagram, none of those even existed at the time, certainly not Snapchat or whatever. So I was building there because my friends were there, I was collecting new friends there, and I was building my business there from a social media standpoint, but it still took the true connection and conversation.
But one thing I wanted to point out in that story about my sister is there was no social media involved to get people to that house.
Right.
It was her friends, her personal reach out via text, because I didn't even know if we had invites. So I literally said, text your friends and tell them to come.
Call them.
Call them. So you don't have to have social media. You didn't have to have it then. You don't have to have it today to be successful in gathering people. That show was successful because of relationships.
Well, and some of the beautiful stories we see now is people had a social media circle, whether it was on Facebook in a buy-sell trade group, or whether they were a YouTuber talking about skincare and makeup routines, or wherever they have collected their audience of people that know, like, and trust them, and then they go in there and they share Stella and Dot. They already have a warm audience. So when you have a warm audience, it's easier to move them. So when people say, where should I start? And I always just go back and say, start where you are. Where's your circle of influence? Does it look like picking up the phone or texting or standing at the bus stop or going to some local meetups to get to know more people? Does it look like working on a social media platform you're already on? Versus starting a new one. So there are lots of options. I have decided to primarily focus on Facebook. You brought up a blog a year or so ago, and I thought, all right, I want a place to share more in depth online. I signed up, paid for a blog, started it, got a cute image. I'm sure I'm still paying for it. I can't tell you what the name of it is, but what I started to realize was I don't have people over in a blog world. Like, I would have to take all my people from Facebook and try to move them over there. So then I thought, well, I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm going to stay where my audience is and talk to them and incorporate Stella and Dot in. And I will tell you, I was already doing that for the 8 years before that. I just figured out I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to use other people's examples and get better at it. And that has served me well for increasing my sales online, virtually, using social media as an outlet to grow my business. So I had my best year ever. So I do think you have to think about where you are and then focus on where you want to grow and get better. So like we talked about, like those old selfie photos, we have gotten better. And it's been interesting because as you've re-engaged in your business after a 2-year
Hiatus?
Yeah, okay. Pause, however you want to call it. As you have done that, you what took me a year to get good at doing has taken her like a month. I mean, like, I feel like she's learning from the expert and everything, but she's just doing it better. So I said to her when we were talking about, like, we need to do a social media training, we're hearing a lot from stylists that they want to hear that. I said to her, we have 2 different personalities. Like, I'm like I got the idea, dump, and then I forget about it, where she noodles it and takes care of it, massages it, and puts it out there and makes it better, right? So her content is better. So if you want better content, follow Barbara, but personalize it and make it your own. Like, I do see, like, you get some inspiration from what I do, for example. You're like, ooh, shit, it's misspellings, it's a mess. I can't be Sam, but I can be myself and do your own interpretation on it. And I think that is great. For me, I have to just do it, right? I'm like, I have to live in the moment, I have to do it then. But you are able to find what works for you, and that I think is magical. So I think you always want to have mentors that help lift you and help you be stronger at what you're doing. So find a couple examples of people who are doing social media that you really like. And you said that you've been led to a couple other fashion bloggers that inspire you and give you ideas. And you never want to take someone's content. It just doesn't work. Back in the day, you could totally do that on Facebook, and like we were really open and sharing community and why recreate the wheel. But now it's like, no, that doesn't work anymore, because that happened in politics. And people were sharing bad stories and bad information and blah, blah, blah. Now Facebook has all these settings, and they don't want anyone copying and plagiarizing or sharing the same photos. So what used to work doesn't work anymore. Now, we were doing it in a very gentle, nice way, but the reality is your original content matters. One of the things I focused on March a year ago was, if I was going to have a Facebook group that was essentially going to become where I would blog, I did not want it to look like the Stellan Dot website, because I already had a link to that I could give to people. Like, if they wanted to go to Stellan Dot, why would they go to my Facebook page? They should just go right to my direct website. So I decided I wanted to up my game there. And I think you're really good at doing this and like figuring out who it is you're talking to and what your content's going to be and what do you think is important there.
So, well, are you talking about just like on my Facebook group?
Well, so you have a public Facebook group. You mostly speak within your Facebook group. You also have an Instagram account. And my question to you earlier was, all right, you're choosing to do it mostly in your group versus on your wall,
Yes.
or mostly in your Instagram. Like, what are you doing to grow your group? Because we all have 30 people we could get into a group, right?
Yeah.
Between immediate friends and family and the sort. But you've grown yours considerably. I hit 1,000 yesterday.
Woo!
I know. I was like,
That's
that better be a high
awesome.
five.
Yeah.
I got nothing else accomplished yesterday because I kept waiting for that 999 to change to 1,000.
I pay attention to my number, but I don't obsess over my number because honestly, I'd rather have quality people.
I mean, but 1,000. I don't normally
Quality.
obsess.
Quality people in my group, and I will obsess when I get close to a particular number. I started with, I think, 19 people in my group. It was people that I knew. I dumped them in the group, sent them a message that said, if you don't want to be here, go away. And it was, I was adding friends and adding acquaintances people that I was meeting at
Barbara Ellis, Stellan Dot, independent stylist. Group.
Yeah, and it was very much like branding Stella and Dot and all of that good stuff. And now it is, it's the Stylish Chicks, which is the name of my original blog that where Sam found me. Come Full Circle. It's my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle and all those.
So you're consistent in your
very
naming.
Consistent.
And that's an interesting name too. I like it much better than Barbara Ellis, Stellan Dot stylist, independent stylist.
It's just, I don't even know where it came from. It's just, people used to call me the Stylish
Your
Chick.
license plate?
My license plate used to say Stylish Chick.
It doesn't anymore? You need to change that back.
Well, since I moved here, I haven't gotten it personalized. But yeah, so my old Virginia license plate said Style Chick. So it's been one of those things that has just, it's always kind of been my thing. So why not name my I was going to say blog. My Facebook group really has become
your blog.
My blog. And I invite people there from my regular page. I might say things like, hey, I'm hosting a giveaway over there. Like if I have something that I think would be kind of interesting or compelling to get people from my wall over to my group, I do that.
Prospecting. It's inviting new people in.
And I do that occasionally. I don't do that all the time. The way I'm most successful is I personally invite people. If I'm in my group and I think of somebody and I go to tag them and they're not in my group, I send them a message and I say, hey girl, you should so be in there. It'd be so much more fun with you. And I send them the link and 9 times out of 10, they click on like. So I've actually been able to grow my group considerably just in the last month
you've only been focusing on it for about a month.
For about a month by doing stuff like that. For 2 years, when I was not really doing Stella and Dot, I was, it was pretty much the same number very consistently for 2 years. I wasn't losing a lot of people. I think I lost 1 or 2 and I gained 1 or 2, but that was kind of it. Now I'm looking for growth, but it is slower growth. I did take my group public so that people could find it. I still have to approve people to jump into the group, so I'm not just getting randoms in there.
I think that's great because your content is share worthy.
Yeah, so my content now is shareable as a public group, which is fantastic. So if I do a video in there and I want to share it to my wall, I certainly can, and I have that sort of thing. If I'm I have posted some things, just funny style related things, and my VIP group has shared it to their friends, and so it's getting more eyeballs into my VIP
and more
group.
people choosing to click in.
Yeah. So
I probably started my group 7 years ago. Let's say that's when Facebook started groups, and mine was Samantha Tunador, independent stylist for Stella and Dot. And like I said, it was like a landing page there. And I grew it to 300 over those years. But a year and a half ago, when I was at that, I'm going to say 300, I was like, all right, I'm going to focus on this. I want a place to collect my clients. I don't want to be a one-night stand. I want to be a long-term relationship with them. I don't want them to shop once for 100. I want them to shop every month at 100, right? If I could get to 1,200 a year, sounded a lot better than 100. I wish I had done that from the very beginning. So if you're starting your business new, start building those relationships, deeper relationships with them now. But when I went in, and I've changed the name of mine a couple times in the past year, I'm still trying to find what's ideal in my group. And while there is certainly some Stella and Dot focus and some style focus, I'm really trying to bring my life in there. And I think that's something that you're doing really well is you can't be everything to everyone, but you can be yourself, and then you'll attract the right people, right? So in my situation, I'm talking about being a mom of asshole teenagers, and my kids are not in my group, by the way. Right, I do.
She does.
And I think I shared some good advice.
And I'm 51, and most of my clients are about my age, in that range, and so I'm not trying to appeal to moms of littles. Now, there are moms with littles in my group, and that's fantastic, but that's not me. That's not the stage of life I'm at. My son is an asshole 24-year-old.
Oh gosh, it's got to get better.
It doesn't get any better. Just
It
saying.
will. Fingers crossed. But you're also in there, when we had this conversation about like upping your game there, you had expressed an interest in it. You're like, but what will I share? What will I write about in there? I'm like, you have so much to share. And here's the thing. They're going to ask you, how does your hair always look so cute like that? And they're going to want a tutorial. They're going to ask you how you tie a knot in your t-shirt. And you're like, well, this is self-explanatory, but okay. They want you to show, like we were on doing a video earlier and you switched your shirt around a few times and I flipped mine a few times. And we weren't like by the twist team. We're like, look how easy this is to transition the style, right? But you shared your favorite corn tortillas the other day. I mean, I now need to share my fried taco shells.
Which were really good, by the way.
Yeah, we just had a quick little lunch between
Yummy fried taco shells.
videos and sort.
Well, some of the things that you might think are boring are actually, they're your everyday things, and they're part of what makes you you, and that's what I had to kind of get past is what are the things that make me uniquely me?
She's a freak about like menu planning and grocery shopping.
I am a freak about menu planning and grocery shopping. It's actually kind of obsessive.
It's amazing.
It's it's actually a really neat system, and I love sharing it with people. So yeah, I share things like that. I share.
Because let's face it, Facebook only wants you to see crockpot recipes and dogs with injuries.
Yeah.
I'm like, girls, we have to up the content. We have to make the content worthy, and whether that's empowering women. Kelly Cox is amazing about talking about empowerment with women, right?
Yep.
Sharing good finds. Like I like sharing podcasts that I like.
It could be fashion related. It could be. Yeah, it could be anything workout related. I started running recently, which for those people who know me, that is quite the feat.
I'm not following you, not doing it.
To get me out and running, but I am. Need to post an update on that. And I find that I actually have almost too much content now. Like I'm like Sam said earlier, I'm very thoughtful. I like to curate and to really, like, I don't like to post like bam, bam, bam 3 times in a row and then not post for 24 hours. Like I like to spread things. And sometimes that's to my detriment. But sometimes I also think it's good because I'm catching different people at different times during the day.
Because you can actually schedule it out too.
Yeah, you can schedule it out in a group.
So as a number, like often people say I'm worried about doing too much. Only 10% of the people on your wall see your content. And you can't decide those 10%, right? You can do little things like engage with them and the sort to help. But posting consistently increases the potential for people to see it. But if you have 100 Facebook friends, only 10 are going to see it, which you can go in and look at your it's not called stats, but basically stats, analytics that show you when the most common time is for people to be online in your group, who's watching, who's commenting the most, and you know who you can engage with and thank and reward and give first access to a sample sale, for example. So paying attention to that is key. You say once a day, sometimes more often, specifically so you can catch more people. I'm like, as soon as I have the content, I just deploy it because otherwise I'm going to lose it. Now I am trying to mix up my content. Yesterday was, what are your favorite shoes? I need a new shoe brand, right? Like I'm asking them for advice. I'm looking for ways for them to engage. I would also say like when you're doing like a workout and you're talking about the workout, you're wearing earrings. You haven't talked about the earrings. Do they ask you about the earrings?
I haven't really shared much of my workouts because I'm sweating.
But I mean other things. Like when you're picking flowers, they're like, how cute is that top? Where did you get the top from?
Yeah.
They will ask you. They will dig in. You become the reality show. They will dig in and find out who and what you're wearing, right?
They want to know.
they want to know. They'll ask if it's not already there. I use Mimi and go in and build a cart for whatever I'm wearing and place it down in the comments for the person who's digging for more information. And that helps, like when I go on and show what I do a lot of live videos, so we should probably talk about live videos too. But I do a lot of live videos where I show what I'm wearing. Like, who has a curly top? Let me show you how I've styled it today. Leggings, sneakers, whatever, right? I'll go on and show them for some style inspiration. Then I'll link them to the leggings that I don't sell, right? So if you're going in and giving them content that may be of interest to them, they're more likely to engage and watch there. So talk about video.
So video is becoming increasingly important for you to get picked up and noticed by any of the social media platforms, but Facebook in particular loves video, and they will show your video to more people than they would just to post with a picture, which is way more than just to post with just words. So having a live video is something that if you can jump on and do it, that's great. If you're one of those, I just can't do live, do a video, host it on YouTube and post it over. But live is really where it's at. And one of the worst things that you can do is jump in and go, I'm going to wait here for people.
I know, I find
and
that
then
interesting.
stare at the camera. Just go, because the whole thing with live is after you're done and you click finish and you say, yes, I want to upload this to my group, then it sits in your group and it's an actual video that people can go back and watch.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to start a live video and just dive into whatever topic it is that you want to talk about. People will come back and find it. And I find that when I do things like a box opening or I'm styling a top and I put that in the description of the video, I'll have people come back to me a week later and go, I just saw your video on the Lady Boss bag and now I want to know more information, or I want to buy it. So the content lives in there. So when you are doing a live video, there's two different rules. One says your video should be less than 2 minutes to capture people's attention or
keep them there.
Or to keep them there. Or it should be 10 minutes or longer so that you can continue to engage.
More people. Yeah.
So I guess the best thing that I can tell you to do is try them both. Try jumping on and
do what works for you.
Try. If
we just did an hour-long one.
We did an hour-long video.
Did not expect anyone to stay and watch it for the whole hour, but what we did was we were very repetitive. So some of the words you might say are comment if you're here live. I'd love to give you a shout out, or comment replay if you catch it later.
Yeah, or message me if you want more information instead of leaving it. That was a great thing that she said in ours is, if you say great earrings, we won't know which one you're talking about. So tell us the name or message us,
screenshot
it and then message it to us so that we know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
So
we were you were probably annoyed me, but very repetitive. Like, okay, welcome.
I wasn't getting annoyed because I didn't have to say it.
And we were in two different groups. We were doing my group and her group, right?
Simultaneously.
And here's the thing. It's not going to be for everyone, but we have combined, last we looked, over 200 views. That's free marketing. That was the best hour spent getting in front of 200 people, because there's no other way we could have done that today.
Right.
But we got in front of 200 people with the special. We shared a lot of different styles. Maybe it would be helpful for a stylist who watched it to be inspired to share the style with someone else. Maybe just hearing our words would give somebody else confidence to share. But you won't be perfect. You'll never be perfect. I mean,
my gosh.
Don't even go perfect, because they won't believe you. They won't relate.
I've practically gotten naked in front of a camera.
I won an award. Most likely to go in the underwear online.
Unintentionally, I have dropped my phone in the middle of it, and you've heard it clunk, and then me scrambling around trying to get the phone back up on the thing, on the holder. Mm-hmm. I have ripped my hair out in the back.
You did that today.
I did that today, trying to get a necklace off of.
Some people have showed nipples accidentally.
Oh yeah, there's some, but you know what? It's just, that's life, and I think people appreciate it when it's not perfect, because it's so much more relatable.
It's part of the reality show.
Yeah.
They're there watching.
Yeah.
For me, my daughter was always part of my lives. She's older now, so she's rarely in them. But she says to me, you know, they keep coming back hoping I'm going to show up in the video, because she would do the worst things. She would say she hated something Stella & Dot, or she'd eye roll. They would be there to see what was going to happen, and then they'd be like, oh shit, now I like that ring, right? Excuse me for cursing. Yeah. But here's the thing, you have to talk to your audience, and you have to be you.
See, there's the
and you are not Stella & Dot, right?
I literally ripped out a chunk of my hair today.
So you're going to share how it fits into your life For sure, right?
Yeah.
So whether that is, like, I was sharing photos where we were all doing a pillow fight the other night. Totally at a Stella and Dot event. I didn't have to say it was at a Stella and Dot event. Instead, the comments I get from people, whether it's online or out and about, is, you have so much fun. Someday when I don't have to work, I want to do a job like yours. I'm like, you should do a job like mine now. Like, it helps me get into a conversation with them based on, they're like, I want your lifestyle.
I'm going to totally jump topic for a second because something she just said. I posted similar pictures of the pillow fight, and I posted it to Instagram and I posted it to Facebook, but I did 2 different posts.
Oh, yes.
And I think that's really important, is you don't want to have the same exact verbiage, the same exact post on
Because it lets you share from one
it
to the other.
lets you share from one to the other.
Do that.
Don't do that. Just take the extra time. What I like to do is do in notes. I do my caption with my hashtags and everything, and I keep everything in there, and then I just copy paste it onto Instagram, and then I can go in there, change the words, copy paste it without the hashtags over onto Facebook. So like on Instagram, I posted that I was wearing a Rebecca Taylor dress and Loeffler Randall shoes, and because that's kind of that Instagram audience, right?
Rebecca.
Yeah. So I'm Rebecca Taylor. So I'm doing I'm tagging people and brands over on Instagram. I wouldn't do that on Facebook. Nobody over there cares who my dress
Rebecca?
who that is. Totally different audience for me. And I posted it to my Facebook wall versus my group. So it needed to be a little bit more personal, and it was just really more my story about sharing fun with friends on Facebook, whereas on Instagram it was more about having a fashion moment and a little bit more thoughtful kind of blog-ish type post on Instagram. So just know that you can use the same picture or the same content, but switch it up depending on who your audience is for each platform.
I use both platforms. I'm not on YouTube other than for trainings for the most part. Haven't figured out Pinterest. I'm not good on Snapchat. I'm there to stalk my daughter. So from a social media standpoint, I choose Facebook and Instagram. And I will tell you, I don't get orders from Instagram. Like, it really is not where I'm building my business. But for me, it's kind of my test platform. Like, I'll try something out there, and if it's well received or I like it, I'll post it later and personalize it over on Facebook. So if anything, I'm kind of testing there. I'm doing short little videos. Stories, guys, are super important. We haven't really talked about that a lot. Of course, you have your walls and curating a wall. Like, when they come and look at the stylish chick, when they land there and it looks like a place they want to be because of the content, the color, how the layout, like
your bio,
is really super important. Like, it's clear what they're there for. That's when they decide to follow you, which then puts you into the stories. Your stories on both Instagram and trending now on Facebook, you start doing it there. Your stories are your day-to-day life, your moments. It helps them really get to know you and what your life is really like, right? Like, your house always looks so clean in those photos. Well, follow me on my story and see my cleaning tips and how I'm doing it, right? And see my aggravation where my daughter just left a tornado through the house, right? It's not my house, it's clean. I'm talking about another person. But your stories tell your story, but your wall is curated, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Which is another point. Curated means don't put political posts up. Because right there, we know you're rolling out 50% of the people who are going to choose not to do business with you.
Right.
If that's your passion, do it. If it's not your passion, I would avoid political. I would avoid
overly religious.
Yeah, absolutely.
But caveat to that, if that is who you are,
yes.
and it is 100% part of your life and your person, then by all means go ahead and post it.
You're going to attract the right people.
You will attract the right people when you do that. But if you're kind of half in, half out, probably leave it out, because you don't want to do something that might alienate a percentage of your client base if they are not in agreement with you. But I have some very dear friends who have, on both sides of the spectrum, in their bio, Jesus lover, and they have a lot of prayer posts and things like that. And then I have other people who are very liberal and they're activists in whatever community, and those are their posts. So you can have it in there if that truly is your life. So don't take it out if it's...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
the point is be you.
Be you, be authentic.
But be cautious. Yeah. Remember, you're going to attract what you put out there. So I think if you put a lot of negative posts up, which I don't mean either of those are negative, but let's say you're like, why am I attracting all these negative Nellies? Go look at your post. Are they negative? Right? Be a place where people want to be, and then attract the right people to you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and mine is, I really shifted. So if you looked at my posts a couple years ago, I was basically giving Pure Barre free advertising
yes.
constantly.
Same.
Because all of my posts were Pure Barre related, and I think people thought I either owned a studio or they were paying at me for advertising for them. So really, my Instagram has evolved into branding myself, and not necessarily Stella and Dot. I share fashion, I share style, and so my wall is now very curated with images mostly of me, because that's honestly what gets me the comments. That's what gets me the likes.
So we've been
and then I
making
post all the other extraneous stuff in my stories.
Yeah.
So all the fun, crazy, silly things I post over there, and my wall is very, it's just a pretty wall, and that's
well, it is pretty because it's pictures of you. But let's talk about your photographer and all these little tools you're using to make this happen.
my photographer.
So here's the thing: you do need some basic tools, and there's a reason why your initial photos are grainy and not so great, and maybe looking up at your nostrils or whatever, is because you're doing it on your own and you're figuring it out. So absolutely do it. We're sitting here in front of this nice ring light that's adjustable. Like I had a piece that broke, I got a replacement piece. It helps from a lighting standpoint. But before that, I had my floor lamp with the lampshade taken off, right? Or I stuck myself in a southern facing window. The more light you have, you get rid of shadows. But what are some of the tools that we use, right? I'm sure there's a lot of questions about that.
Oh, so a good tripod stand, something that you can hold your phone. So the selfie ring lights are great for that, because they not only give you the light, but they give you a stand. I have one that's not a ring light that I can take with me outdoors, and I don't have the cords and everything else, because the lighting in my house sucks. It's terrible, and even with the ring light, things turn out grainy because it's so dark. So I tend to like to go outside. So when I do live videos and things, I'll use my ring light, but for actual photos, yeah, the
sticky
little
for a window,
sticky. There's
or mirror.
There's one that has like a suction cup with a flexible thing on it. I also have one
Like
that
you
has
have in a car.
For a car, I have one that has a clip, and much to my husband's dismay, I clip it to the top of my computer monitor, and I fold that out because it's a better holder than my selfie ring light.
I bought the selfie ring light back when the only option was $100. Now you can get it for like $27 with great reviews on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's your background, what's behind you. So I have transitioned through so many things. Like I would not put that behind me. The other side of this room is for my story. For me to be like, this looks nice, look at that, right? Right. Wall reality.
I have a bookcase behind mine, and I have my Stella and Dot neck forms and jewelry, and I try to curate it,
Yeah.
and I try to make it pretty behind me. Yeah.
So your backdrop should be either plain or well curated. I have done everything from I literally have a poster turned around, so I have a white backdrop over there.
I kept saying to her, "What are you doing those flat lays on? It's so cute." And she pulls a poster off the wall. I was like, "Well, shit."
A dollar poster.
A dollar poster. It doesn't have to be fancy.
No. It is. I have found that I need to give myself a couple options, right? So whether it's a selfie in the mirror that I have strategically placed here. I bought an affordable mirror at IKEA. I have a nice surface on the top of my desk. I have a marble top surface over there. I have bought a little white furry rug over here that literally is this narrow. It ends. It's a runner. Like you can't tell that though in my photos, right? I have bought the $10 drops photo backdrops from Amazon. I still have those in my closet.
This is so much nicer though.
Yeah, well, but that was better than what I had before. I just
Yeah.
keep getting better. So I don't know what it was. I had all these things and I was like, well, wait, these were sitting in my daughter's room being unused, and a couple $1 investment in some hooks and nagging my husband a little bit. I'm like, I had this nice display I keep changing so that I can change my backdrop, and I might be wearing this, but they're like, tell me about this over here, right? It's like a little silent salesperson even when I'm not talking about it. So I think you need to think about lighting is so magical. The angle of your the angle of your camera, And then your backdrop. I think those are key. But we have so much fun. Like, we don't even, I mean, it's hard to call it work, but we're like, where are we going next? What are we going to do? Like, there's adventures to be had.
Go have picture taken.
So we're like, we need popsicles today. Wouldn't that be cute with some fun arm parties or with my necklaces? Because it's a buy one, get one free. Not free. Buy one, get one. Half off when I'm eating my popsicle, right? So now I'm going to talk about my popsicle, but the necklaces are still there.
Right.
So we are each other's photographer. I'm a little bit better than she is. She's getting better.
Really?
So we're constantly creating fun new content. So I do think that might be your selfie stick. It might be your husband. There are definitely Insta husbands, right? Some that are more cooperative than not.
Well, and like I said, I have a tripod stand. It cost me $20 on Amazon, and I'm happy to share the link if you just ask. And it's basically a tripod stand that comes up to about 5 feet tall, and has a camera mount on the top, and I take that with me outside. I can use it as a selfie stick, or I just plant it, and then I have a remote control for my phone.
Yeah.
And it came with the selfie stick, the little remote control, and I just photograph myself, and I think my neighbors all think I'm absolutely nuts, but the lighting outside is fantastic.
Let them think you're nuts.
And I'm running in and out of the door and because it's my phone and everything, I'm not leaving, and it's a little too far away.
Yeah.
I'm literally like carrying everything back and forth with me.
Ask a 16-year-old what they do on Snapchat. Like my daughter, can get all kinds of different angles. She just gets creative with the camera. So you can always ask others for mentorship and help there. I also think you had a client message you earlier showing you off her necklace. She sent it to you with this cute little filter. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, like if you don't really want to be on camera and looking like this, there are filters. You can do your video on Instagram and save it, or Snapchat and save it, and then share it. Like, it doesn't even really have to be you. Or you can turn the camera around and just talk about this wall and not you.
Some of my most popular posts from last year were from my mouth to here. Huh. So you couldn't even see. I generally did it from the side with a smile, showing off necklaces.
Get a close up, yeah.
Getting a close up, and maybe it was my hand, maybe it wasn't my hand.
Relating to like the age spots? What was
they were totally relating to the age spots. And the turkey neck.
Got it, flaunt it, right?
This is the real thing, girls.
So here's the thing. My 17-year-old daughter might be like, no, I'm not interested in wearing that, right? Mm-hmm. It's because you're not speaking to her audience.
I'm not trying to speak to her.
I think you're 100 times cooler than she is. So I do feel like you're probably influencing her more than you think. Or I think. So anyway, what else should we be talking about?
I think we covered all the major stuff. Yeah, don't try to be an expert at all things. You know, if Facebook is where your people are, stick to Facebook. If you want to try Instagram, start with your wall and figure out your wall before you get into stories. Don't try to jump in and do everything. It will become very overwhelming. Just one thing at a time. But honestly, figure out what your branding is, and I think that's really important too. Like, who's your audience? Who do you want to be to that audience? What solution are you providing them? And that's where you come up with your persona, your content, and how you kind of build your own brand. So yes, Stella & Dot is fabulous, and yes, we're both Stella & Dot stylists, and very proud to be Stella & Dot stylists, but Stella & Dot doesn't need us to brand them. We need to brand ourselves. You need to brand yourself, because it's you, and people are going to connect with you. Then they'll connect with the product that you're selling.
So true.
So build a relationship, brand yourself, be authentic, be yourself. And like Samantha said, we are two very different people. We laugh a lot together, and we have a great time, and very connected, but we have different personalities. And so if you look at my group versus hers, we may take each other's ideas, but when we are posting, the verbiage is definitely Barbara and Samantha. You can tell who posted what.
It should definitely be unique. So, and I think that is key. I will tell you, I feel like you're well branded and yours is ideal. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out my way, right? I don't know exactly what mine's going to be. I'm not 100% sure that my group name, Style Insiders, is ideal for me. And I've played around with it. I've asked my group. I've changed it. I typo the other day. I'm like, shit, should I change it to Styled Insiders? Because that's what I just put on everything. Yeah. Right? So mine is definitely not perfect, and I'm figuring it out along the way, and I'm finding out what content works and what doesn't work. But I'm just doing it. I'm definitely, I'm not an overthinker, and that's okay. you have to be you. You have to put out there what's comfortable for you. And then your biggest job there is then to connect with the people that are there. So I think, as you mentioned, private message them. Like, I was chatting with a gal last night, like, okay, heads up, there's a sale coming tomorrow. Send it to her via text using Mimi, which is a great way to reach out to people. She responded back with, hey, can we split the order? And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? She said, with me and my friend, like, can she get one necklace? I get one. I'm like, absolutely, let me enable you, let me help you. And she's like, oh, our budget's so tight, right? So we get into a conversation, and I'm like, I have those 2 necklaces in my sample set. I'm like, you know what? Y'all are besties, and I value my bestie so much, I'm just gonna send it to you, right? This is a woman who shopped a lot, brought me a lot of people. Like, I am digging in and building a much more loyal client by sharing it with her versus selling it for $12 or $17 or whatever. So I am taking those opportunities to reach out, connect, build a deeper relationship. And I don't necessarily mean by giving things away, but I wouldn't hesitate to be like, hey, I saw you were at Bar Taco the other day. I'm going there for my first time. What are you loving? You know, reach out and connect with people. Like, connection, it's key, not just online, in person. The other day, we were going to take photos of this crazy dessert we had to have. This is going to become a bad habit. And I said, hey, do you mind if I call one of my best clients? She lives near there, and it's a bourbon dessert, and I know she likes bourbon, right? And I also had some samples to drop off to her. So it was great. We had her come in and hung out together.
And we ordered the dessert, and they brought the wrong one, and then we ordered dessert again.
Yes, we had to have the right one.
We had to have the right one because we ate both.
So anyway, I think it still comes back to what it would normally be in any business is connection, relationship building, using social media to get in front of more people faster. Like the fact that we got to 200 people in an hour, that was magic. Have you get a sale from it yet?
No.
I don't have a sale from it yet. Guys, it's not instant. It will take time, right?
Yeah. But it's if you don't put yourself out there, you will get nothing.
Zero,
You
right?
get zero.
So being there and being consistent, I wish we talked more about consistency, but being consistent is so key. You've got to, it's like hanging an open sign, being there in front of them. I don't care if it's, I told you all I'd come live every day. I have 10 seconds while I'm walking out to my car. We aren't even talking about anything today. I just wanted to say hi. Get in your car. Right? I mean, it should be there, connected, and in front of them, because if you're not in front of them with yourself and your business, you're not open. They're not thinking about you. They're like, do you do Zapata?
Yeah.
No, it was years ago.
And consistent's going to be different for each person. We'll just touch on that for just a second. So for me and my VIP group, consistent means a minimum of twice a day, generally 3 times. Samantha's doing 5 or 6 posts a day in her VIP group. Over on Instagram for me on my wall, it's once a day. I don't do any more than that. I try not to do any less than that. And I certainly don't let it go for a week before I post. Now, if you skip a day, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt anybody. But if you do 10 posts all in a row and then you do nothing for a week, people are going to look at that and go, oh, what's going on with her? So if use scheduling tools for groups and things like that to make sure that you are consistent and you're spreading the love out if you've got a lot of content, or you're going to be busy and you know that you're not going to be able to post for a few days. So.
Well, and I also think that's where when you're creating content, it's having a wall drop, a floor flat lay, you wearing the outfit, a zoom in on the ring. Like when you can take an hour to get a photo for one post, are you also getting some extra posts that are kind of that same color series that will line up well on that Instagram wall or your Facebook wall? You can create extra content and use it later. I just get so excited. I'm very much like, oh, I did that yesterday. I can't post it today. So my posts are often, but I'm not sure that it's a negative or a positive. Here's the thing, like when I'm on Instagram now, or Pinterest, or Facebook, who is guilty for having bought something because I saw it on social media? I'm literally looking around this room. Those shoes, which made you buy those shoes. That little picture frame, right? Were we not like in Denver when I was like, I have to have that?
And then she cried when she thought she couldn't get it.
Yeah, like we get really committed, and like this mirror, like I have bought so many things now because of social media influence, whether it was someone I knew or I didn't know. So being there and being in front of people, it's free, guys. It's free.
Yeah, it is free. Take advantage of it. Have fun with it. Yeah. Really have fun with it. And maybe share your handle, what your Instagram handle is. We'd love to go take a look and follow you, and then we
post
can help
questions you have.
Yeah. Post some questions.
We'll give you some feedback.
Yep.
So what is your Instagram?
I'm at The Stylish Chick.
I don't love mine. I'm at Sam at Sam Tunador _ Style Insiders.
We need to change that.
Yeah, don't love it. It's too long.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I'm at Style Insiders.
Style Insiders.
By Sam
And I'm
Tunador.
the Stylish Chicks with an S on the end because I wanted my group to be a collective group of
Yeah.
stylish chicks. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, you can actually, when you're coming up with a name, just put it in the Facebook search bar to see how many other people have that name and how you need to change it. One of my favorites is Rachel Clutter in Pretty Little Clutter.
Pretty Little Clutter.
Such
That's
a great
name. Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, and your bio is really important too. So, quick tip on your bio: so my name is the Stylish Chick. In my bio, it says Barbara Ellis Style. So if somebody is looking up my name, they'll see me there. There she is, pretty girl.
Oh, thanks.
Hi.
Are you not going to say thank you, pretty lady?
I said thanks.
She said thanks.
Pretty woman.
Pretty old lady.
I'm sorry.
Where's the stretcher? She might die any minute now. She's so old. So the Stylish Chick is my Twitter or my Instagram handle, but Barbara Ellis Style is how. So that's that searchable category. So I have my name in there as well, and I have style in there. So if somebody's searching style, I might pop up in that kind of search. And then my bio is a little bit about me, but it's who I'm focused on. So it talks about style for being 50 years old and that sort of thing, and I'm style and personal branding and that sort of stuff. So you're welcome to take, and I have refined it and refined it and refined it, and I'm finding I am getting a lot of engagement now with my demographic.
Being more specific.
Being more
with people you want to
specific.
attract,
Yeah, so and it sounds kind of funny that I would really want to narrow it down, but my growth is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. When you think you're going to narrow it down and you're really like, oh, I'm going to limit all these people because I'm talking about being 50 in style, now my world is like,
Well, you're becoming an expert
I'm
to
becoming-
those people,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Right, and they can relate and see how to style.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I actually do with people saying to me, like, I didn't wear short shorts before you, and you showed me how to do it. Or, this makes me so happy having the style in my life. I didn't know how much I needed this. Like, the responses you get back when you're a solution for people is just amazing. But yeah, mine needs more help, and I'll keep getting there.
Yeah.
I've gone one way, I've moved it back another way. You can test. It's not permanent.
no, it's not permanent.
And
You
it's
can go in and
free.
change it all the time.
All right, guys, we're signing off, but I hope you'll comment below, ask questions. We'll do our best to help engage and come back and help you.
Yeah.
And looking forward to helping you style your life as you
Yes.
see fit with your social media.
Bye, ladies.